Thanks, Leon, and hi, everybody. It's great to be back. Thanks so much for having us here. This promises to be the best panel of the day, and although we are available via live stream, I know you're all live streaming Comey's testimony right now, and that's fine too. That can be summarized in tweets, as can much of what's going to happen over the course of the day today. I promise for what you do day to day, this will be much more relevant. It won't have as many long-term implications as perhaps the Comey testimony, but the Republic and payments will survive. So thanks for the opportunity to be here. For those of you who aren't familiar with ETA, we're the trade association of the payments industry based in DC. We represent more than 500 companies across the ecosystem, including the great companies that are represented here on the panel. I'm pleased to have the opportunity to moderate this discussion because we really have a great cross-section here that fits the bill as we identify payments as an ecosystem. Payments really is an ecosystem. It was born here in New York City, our ecosystem, at a dinner. Some of you may know the history of the payments industry. It's actually referred to in the payments industry as the First Supper, without any religious allegories at all. Took place in 1949. Major's Cabin Grill. Frank McNamara out to dinner with a bunch of business partners, and his wife was there as well, which turned out to be important because he forgot his wallet at home, and his wife had to pay for the meal, which of course in 1949 was mortifying to him, so he immediately went out and with a business partner started the plan for what became, anybody know?
Bank AmeriCard.
Diners Club, nice, all right, it's a room of payments geeks. So 1950, he signed up 27 restaurants, charged each of them a 7% interchange rate, so don't complain about interchange too much, Mark, today. It was 7% in 1950. It's got to be better than that now. And that's what got us here today. So when we talk about payments as an ecosystem, it really was born of the idea of linking together consumers who wanted to go to their favorite retailer or their favorite restaurant and pay with something other than cash, and retailers who wanted to give them an opportunity for their customers to buy more than they had available in their pocket at the time. And fast forward to today, the technology has changed, the form factors have changed, but what we do as an ecosystem really hasn't. So our panelists here today, and I'll introduce them to you, and then we're going to hear from them one at a time about what their priorities are, what they're working on, what they're most excited about in the industry. Our panelists represent all four parties in that four-party model and the ecosystem that we've built up in order to provide the best possible payment solutions to consumers and merchants around the world. So to my immediate left is Matt Solly, who is the VP of Product and Relationship Management at American Express, has a deep involvement in the prepaid business, but obviously is engaged in a variety of products that Amex is bringing to market. To his left is Dr. Brad Pragnell, who's the lead of Payments Canada. Well, Brad actually has a number of hats that he wears, but today he's going to talk about Payments Canada, what's going on in Canada, faster payments initiatives, and the like. Without a tent card, but perhaps more special because he's the only one who doesn't have a tent card, is Ravi Arora. Ravi is the Senior Vice President, Global Public Policy and Community Relations at MasterCard. So just up the road in Purchase. I'm going to be talking about initiatives that MasterCard has underway to build ecosystems for digital financial services. Steve Klebe, Business Development, Android Pay, Google. Steve is a payments luminary, and Steve's on our board of directors, which of course is my boss at ETA, so if you find me attaching perhaps some over-the-top adjectives to Steve, it's not because of that. It's because he truly is a wonderful human being.
Nice try, Jason.
Not working. My contract isn't up for renew for another 2.5 years, so I've got some time to work on that. And then Mark Matthews is Senior Director of Walmart Services and Walmart Pay. Walmart, obviously the world's, the nation's, and I guess the nation's largest retailer. Are you the world's largest retailer as well?
I think world.
Okay, great. And obviously has an amazing story to tell about retail engagement with payments, both directly and as a customer of the payments ecosystem. So let's get started. Matt, we're going to start with you. And I've asked each of the panelists just to talk to you a little bit really about what they're engaged in, but more importantly, what they're most excited in about digital financial services, what's on the roadmap for 2017 that they think is going to really kind of revolutionize even further than our industry has already done how we think about payments. So Matt, we'll start with you and American Express's perspective.
Thanks, Jason. It's a low bar you set for us. For us at American Express, we have a great interest in all of these topics. In my team, in particular, digital financial services and our prepaid products are a core part of our strategy for addressing underserved and underbanked customers in the financial communities here in the U.S. Our two primary products are our Serve product and also Bluebird in conjunction with our friends at Walmart. I think one of the things that we're most excited about that we just recently launched is in conjunction with Walmart is a service called Bluebird to Walmart, where you can leverage your Bluebird account and send money to pick up at any Walmart in the U.S. For anyone to pick up. So it's a great merger of a P2P type of transaction along with a domestic remittance. So it's at a very competitive price, as you can imagine, with our friends at Walmart, but also a great user experience for someone who wants to send money to someone to pick up at a Walmart and can conveniently do so from the palm of their hand.
Great. Brad, do you want to take us to our neighbors to the north and talk about what initiatives are going on up with Payments Canada?
Great. Thanks a lot, Jason. So first of all, I just wanted to be clear that the views of... Ooh, is that a better mic? Thank you.
Oh, no, he's got one.
I got two mics here. There you go.
You can keep
that
yours.
the views that I'm going to be presenting here are personal views, so they're not the official views of Payments Canada. Just great to be here, and thanks to Leona and Michael for the invite. I think it's been an amazing morning so far. I think what I want to talk a bit about is sort of a few layers down and probably resonates a bit more with some of the comments that Sean Rodriguez and Jason Lamb presented earlier this morning, really around the potential for cross-industry collaboration between the public and private sector to be able to make the changes that are needed to core payment systems. So really getting down into the bowels, really getting down into the plumbing that supports a lot of the exciting new payment applications and technologies and user experiences that people are getting access to. One of the things that I've been involved with, so currently at Payments Canada, we're currently in the midst of a modernization process. So last year in April of 2016, we released our vision for the Canadian payments ecosystem, and we outlined a number of high-level goals that we were trying to achieve, including faster payments, data-rich payments, open and risk-based access, and so forth. In December of last year, Payments Canada released its roadmap, and that roadmap outlines 5 pillars of change, including changes to our rules, to our high-value system, but probably most important and relevant is that we articulated the development of what we're calling the real-time rail. So looking at a real-time payments capability within Canada. So we're currently in the midst of a process of working through the requirements on that, and something that hopefully we'll be able to be making some announcements about in the future. So the fast payments revolution is something that I've quite interested in, and previously, before I was at Payments Canada, I was in Australia involved with the new payments platform. So that's another new fast payments initiative that's going live in October of next year. So we're seeing a lot of these fast payment implementations happening, and there's an excellent report that the Bank for International Settlement released in November of last year. So you can probably Google it and find it. It's a very good paper that outlines the case for fast payment implementations. It looks at some of the features and functionalities of them. I think what these new fast payment systems are trying to do is they're trying to revitalize those core systems, many of which have been developed, back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, where we had much different technology and user expectations, and now we're looking at how we can refresh and we can renovate and we can create new types of underlying systems. And the types of features that we're trying to address are speed and availability, data, particularly around implementation of ISO 20022, enhanced functionality, and looking at issues around access and supporting innovation. Just lastly, I think there's the implications of these fast payment implementations. As I said, there's Australia, Canada. Sean talked about what's happening here in the States. There's a lot happening in Europe in various jurisdictions, and you can look at some of the developments in particularly in developed Asia, such as FAST in Singapore and so forth. I think it comes down to sort of two things. One is really about the issue for policymakers. So looking at how can they facilitate collaboration between competitors? How can they facilitate collaboration involving banks, fintechs, mobile operators, all types of players in the ecosystem to try to come up with core payment systems that are standards-based, that are open, that lots of different people might want to use. I think secondly, the implication there for banks, mobile network operators, fintechs, innovators is really around the opportunity that the fast payment systems are offering. So a lot of them are looking at having much more of an open infrastructure use of APIs, and there's much more of an opportunity there to try to get your new types of offerings out there using these systems. So that's basically it for me. I think I used my 5 minutes quite well, so thank you very much, Jason.
You would have heard the buzzer if you hadn't. Ravi, MasterCard has really, I think, a phenomenal payments technology story to tell, and you tell it in a lot of ways around the world. In fact, we had our big ETA trade show a few weeks ago in Las Vegas, and the MasterCard tractor trailer truck that is full of payments innovation was in the middle of our show floor, intentionally. I don't mean to suggest that you just parked it there. And what it showcases is the way in which payments is becoming embedded in everything that we do as part of the ecosystem, you know, from connected refrigerators to turnstiles for transit. And I want to hear from you, because you have a global perspective about how MasterCard views contributions to this innovation economy and the ecosystem around the world.
Okay. Thank you very much, Jason, and good afternoon. So I think if I look at, as we're talking about DFS, digital financial system, so it comes down to, obviously, we have to continue to innovate around, when it comes to creating sustainability, right? Expanding access. So we are working at MasterCard on financial inclusion, digital inclusion, gender inclusion. So, and we do that through a variety of ways. It's through, partnerships, actions, insights, and gathering all of that from around the world. So, as you mentioned, Jason, so obviously payments are touching a cross-section of our lives every single day, because one of the things we want to do is, you want to remove friction. But at the same time, in payments, it should be just something natural, whatever device you use, and everything is moving digital. But then when it comes to enabling, whether it's government, citizens, merchants, consumers, as it is, through whether smart cities, through transit, through mobility, how can you remove friction but ensure, that trust and safety and security? So that's of paramount importance to us. So I'll give you maybe two quick examples. So and these are folks that are not currently financially included, because MasterCard, we made a commitment in 2015. If a lot of you are familiar with the World Bank's Universal Financial Access, the UFA 2020 goals, with over 2 billion people that lack access to basic financial services that we in this room take for granted. Because in the words of James Baldwin, it's expensive to be poor. Because for those who lack access and to get access, it costs them a lot. And then there are the other safety security,